Peace, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Today, we are diving into breaking generational curse in order to unlock your spiritual power, in order to unlock your spiritual gifts, in order to tap into your magic. That is what we're tapping into today. Listen. Your lineage, your family, your mother, your father, these are your roots, okay? These are your roots. These are the people that make up whether you will end up being fruitful, prosperous, abundant, or not. These are your roots. And a lot of times, family, we got some weeds, that are taking over our roots and destroying our garden and destroying what we are able to create in this reality. And so today, we are going to be discussing how to uproot some of those generational, what they call curse, how to uproot some of those generational patterns and cycles. We are going to work through how to pull those weeds out so that we become fruitful, so that we become more and more aligned with who we divinely are, with who we are meant to be, and what it is we're meant to be doing here on this earth, okay? What we're meant to be doing with our time here on this planet. That is what we're going to be dealing with because, if we think of a gardener, if you think of a gardener, right? If you think of a gardener, they know and understand that they got to tend to the roots of the garden first and foremost. Because if you do not tend to the roots, things will get unruly, things will get chaotic, and your fruit will not be as delicious, as prosperous, as abundant as it should be. All right. So, the work that we're doing today as a group, as a community, right? As y'all being a part of my spiritual family, the work that we're doing today is uprooting some of those beliefs, some of those traditions, some of that family energy that we have just been shaping our lives around that does not align with who and what we are meant to be. That is what we're tapping into today. If you're excited about that right now, let me get a yes in the chat. Let me get a yes in the chat if you are excited about that work. Let me know in the chat because I'm excited. You know what? I was actually, how do I say, woken up or awakened in the middle of the night last night with this topic, right? Y'all know usually I go live on a Wednesday. Today Spirit said, no, you got to go live today. You got to have this conversation today. Don't wait. Just do it. And so I have been in these realms all morning since about 4 o'clock in the morning up until now. I have been in these realms with fortifying my mind, my being to deliver this message to y'all. So I'm glad that y'all are excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me greet y'all. Let me say hey to y'all. Peace, Nella. Peace, Ty, Tremel. I am Infinite Being. Peace, Holistic Urbanite. Hey, sis. Hey, Jerry. Hey, my love, Dreamwise. Hey, Unconditional Control Chaos. Over here on Instagram. I see some of y'all showing up in two places, but that's all good. Peace to all of y'all, too. Sagittarius, B. Simone, DJ Juice, Gotti Samadi. Peace to you. Purple Goddess, Garviel, Suafort. I don't know if I said that right. Pleasant Pieces, Cliff, Cosmic Ray, all y'all, okay? All y'all I'm saying hey to and peace to. Listen, this build today, I'm going to tell you right now, this is one that you probably want to share with people that you love because we are in a space right now where we are being given the opportunity to sever some of these energetic ties, right? We've heard the words cut cords. We're being given the opportunity to sever some of these ties, cut some of these cords, really annihilate some of these spirits that have been running in the family. All right. Now, before I get to that, y'all let me know in the chat. Ooh, this is so juicy on Instagram and on YouTube. Let me know in the comments a quality, a characteristic, a certain spirit that you've been able to observe that runs in your family? Is there a certain quality, characteristic, dis-ease that you all have been able to identify that runs in your family? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Let's go ahead. Let's just be real about it, okay? I definitely have some that run in my family. And let me reword that, because that's not the correct way to say that. I have been able to observe certain qualities, characteristics, uh dis-ease, right? Disorder that seems to be a common thread in my family. I've been able to observe that. Okay. I've been able to observe that. So let me know what y'all are thinking, because we're going to talk about it today. And the reason why you have to first be able to acknowledge what it is, the reason why you have to be able to recognize what that thing is because when you can see it, then you can actually purify the bloodline through your spiritual work. Through your healing work, you get to purify that bloodline. You get to transform that energy. You get to turn it into something else in order to unleash your true potential and your true power. All right. So some of y'all are saying abandonment. Yep. Anger issues, speaking things into existence, right? Bad communication, jealousy amongst mother and daughter. Wow. Those are spirits. Those are entities, right? Let's keep going. Over here on YouTube, we got drug addiction. Yes. That definitely have observed that in my family. Poverty. Dream Wise said food. And when I tell y'all he's not lying, Dream Wise loves to eat. His mama loves to eat too. If his mama got to choose what we gonna do to celebrate her birthday, it ain't gonna be something adventurous, right? It ain't gonna be something like, oh, let's go explore this. She gonna say, let's go out to eat. And I'm not mad at her, because I like eating too. But Dream and I be like, man, let's do something different. Let's go do something fun. We always eating. But that's her thing, right? Tremel says smoking, poverty from Lakeisha, confrontational demeanor, love, vengeance, addiction, compassion, insecurities, poverty mindset, drugs, etc. Nella says drama. Jenny says shaming others for their faith. Wow. So many of these things, many of these experiences we have in common, right? We can observe this from our families. You know, one of the things in my family that I've been able to observe, and I'm so grateful to Spirit that I have been able to nip that energy in the bud. But let me tell you, and I'm going to explain this deeper today, is that this takes continuous work, right? This takes continuous consciousness, presence, and work. You never let up on these energies and these entities. All right. So jumping right on in. First of all, we have to understand, family, that energy doesn't die, it transfers. Energy does not die, it transfers. So just because your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, your mother, your grandmother, and now you, just because it was something that maybe your great-grandmother experienced or your great-great-grandmother does experience, just because they make the transition doesn't mean that the spirit that was attached to them, doesn't mean that the thought form that was attached to them, doesn't mean that the addiction, the mindset, the illness that was attached to them, it does not mean that it is destroyed in their transition. Okay? That energy transfers. And so that energy, that entity, it will jump onto the daughter. It will jump onto the aunt. It will jump onto the sister. It will attach itself to somebody else in the family in order for it to continue to live. Because we know, spiritually speaking, quantumly speaking, energy doesn't die, it transfers. And so unless you are very intentional about transforming this energy, these things will go from grandmother to daughter, grandmother to mother to daughter to grandchild to great great grandchild. And if you start to recognize these patterns happening with your grandmother, happening with your mother, happening with you, happening with your child, this lets you know that this is a spirit that is attached to your bloodline. Okay? Something that I had observed from my family was that the women in my family, they always got remarried. They were always able to get them a man, right? Right? The women in my family, no matter how much kids they have, nothing like that, they can manifest a man, right? They can manifest a man, but is that relationship really going to work, right? I've witnessed and I've been able to observe alcoholism, control issues, mental, spiritual, emotional abuse. These are things that I've been able to observe in my family. My mother and my great grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother, they all have children with maybe one or two fathers, but they don't end up being in a committed, long-term, lifelong relationship with the father of their children. They end up going their separate ways, being single mothers for a little while, getting remarried later in their years, getting remarried again in like their 40s, mid 40s, get remarried then, and that be the relationship that sustains them, for the long haul. So I'm so grateful that I have been able to observe that. Before I even got with Dream Wise, I was able to look at my mom and my grandma and be like, y'all did the same exact thing. My great grandmother too, the same exact thing. This is an energy. This is a spirit. Energy doesn't die, it transfers. All right. Energy doesn't die, it transfers. And here's the reality. Here's the reality, family. When something is not transformed, okay, like I just said, it transfers. It jumps on energetically, spiritually. It attaches itself to someone else in the bloodline. Now, let me be clear about this. Dreamwise and I were having a whole conversation about this yesterday, which is why I just love and adore him, because we be having these conversations and it be getting good. We were talking about if generational curse actually exists, right? If it actually exists. And based off of you guys' ability to put all of the different things that you've observed in your family, one side of the coin says, yes, it does. Look at this mama, look at this grandma, look at this daughter. They're all doing the same exact thing. There's a spirit attached to that bloodline. There's an entity attached to that bloodline. There's a curse attached to that family. And their actions, their lack of love, their poverty, their addiction, right? The abuse that each of them have experienced is the result of that. Okay? But then on one hand, especially for a lot of spiritual people, we come into the understanding of free will, that nothing can absolutely be imposed upon you, right? We read in the book, Jewel Pokram's book, Something of the Heart. I can't think of the exact name of it. I don't see the book here, so I'm not even about to rack my mind on trying to figure it out. I ain't even about to do it, okay? But it's something called About the Heart, right? I can't think of the name of it, where Jewel Pokram says, when a child is born, whatever the mama and the daddy had going on, whatever bloodline curse energy that they had going on, the child does not naturally inherit it. The child is actually entering into this realm with a clean slate. They don't have to take on the diabetes. They don't have to take on the divorce. They don't have to take on the illness. They don't have to take on these things. And I believe that there is a lot of truth to that, because we have a lot of people like yourselves that are entering into this realm with a higher level of consciousness, right? With a deeper understanding of what's actually happening spiritually. But here's how these energies and these spirits, they continue to travel. So first of all, we understand in spirituality that there is no such thing as one truth, right? As just one absolute fact, because the truth is always changing and evolving. All right. And then we got the law of polarity. So what looks bad on one side is actually good on the other side. So you have to understand that about the spiritual journey, just period. You have to understand that about consciousness, period. All right. What keeps these spirits and entities traveling from one family member to the next and to the next, and then being called a generational curse, is not necessarily the spirit itself, but it's the trauma, it's the thought process, it's the emotion, and it's the tradition. It's the tradition, meaning it is the type of mentality, the type of emotional state of being. It's the way of living that you inherit, right? Or that you are programmed with, that you are indoctrinated with, that allows that spirit to say, oh, she's thinking just like how her mama was thinking. She's ready to welcome me. Oh, she's feeling those same exact feelings her grandmother was feeling. She's ready to take me on. Okay? And y'all, listen, I definitely want to answer questions. So if questions are coming up for you, man, make sure on Instagram there's a little question mark there. Put your question there so I can always go back to it. So I can remember to go back to it. The reality is that generational curse or generational patterns are the result of thinking, feeling, and behaving the same way as the women and the men that have come before you. It's not something that you have to inherit. When you decide to change your mind, when you decide to change how you perceive and how you view the world, when you decide that you are going to evolve, oh God, come on. When you decide that you are going to improve on your mother's design, shout out to Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu said that. I believe, Erykah Badu said that. She said, I am an improvement on my mother's design. Because just as generational curse are can be very much so real, so are generational blessings, so are generational gifts and talents and power. And so when you decide that you are going to improve on what was given to you, these spirits and these entities cannot attach to you, because your frequency, your vibration, your thought process is not the same exact thing as your mother, your grandmother, and your great grandmother, and so on and so forth. So these energies and these entities, they remain because nobody's having the conversation. Ooh, my God. Okay, listen. The reason why these spirits and entities continue to live and thrive within families, and let me say it like this, the reason why they continue to run in the family, oh, you know how people be saying, oh yeah, they're running my family. See, when we are saying that it runs in the family, what you're saying is that it runs your family, i.e., it controls your family. If something is running you, it is controlling you. So we're going to nip that in the bud right now, that there is absolutely nothing that runs your family or that is running in the family. We're going to nip that in the bud, because absolutely nothing can control you. You are a divine, sacred being, and you have dominion over everything in this reality. And we're going to talk about it. But see, the issue that allows these spirits and entities to continue to thrive is that you're not having the hard conversations in your family. Honey, that right there just sparked something very deep inside of me. Mm. It's got me pretty good. There's a lot of emotion that is coming up inside of me. And when I talk to you all and I have these very in-depth conversations, because of my energetic imprint, I can feel a lot, right? And I've done a lot of work in my own life and within my family. But I know there are many of you who are listening to this and who will listen to this later who feel silenced and who are afraid to have certain conversations with your family in order to sever some of these spiritual and energetic ties. But imagine if a mother told a daughter her experience with abuse. I'm grateful for my journey, but I know and understand that certain experiences that I've had, my mother also had. And if only we were able to have those hard conversations at that divine time, there are some things that I experienced that I wouldn't have had to experience had she shown me her scars, her wounds. Had she let me see her, see that spirit. It's so funny because she actually let me see it one time, and this actually changed my life, right? This actually was the start of me saying, okay, I'm not going to continue to walk down this path, because there was a time in my life where I was not being, I was not loving on me properly. I was not understanding who I really was. I wasn't valuing myself and uplifting myself. And so this landed me in certain relationships and situationships that really did not serve my highest good. And I don't know where that spirit or where that entity came from, because, well, I know where it came from because it ended up coming out, right? But I would find myself dating guys who I wasn't even attracted to, just giving them time, just giving them energy. I remember, y'all, this one guy I was dating. He was so damn sensitive. I knew spiritually, like deep inside, I knew, like this guy, we first started talking, like we went on a date out to eat somewhere. And he's like crying to me on the first date. He's like, yeah, this happened to me. Da, 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 da. He was so wounded and jaded. And I went on a couple of dates with this guy, and I was like, why am after like 2 or 3 dates, I was like, why am I even entertaining this? I know this person is not healthy. I know this person is not for me. Hell, he was even shorter than me. And I knew, like, y'all, like seriously, like spiritually, like deep inside of me, I knew that if a man was shorter than me, he was not my person. I just knew that. I just knew that I was meant to be with somebody that was a giant, somebody that was tall, right? Dream Wise is 6'4", big guy. So I'm like, why am I entertaining this guy who is shorter than me? Like, I know better. But what it was there was this spirit, this energy, this longing, right? There was this longing for connection, this longing for love, this longing to be accepted. And I remember, y'all, I had just graduated. No. I was in college, right? I was in college, and I was home for the summer or Christmas break or something like that. And literally, I came in the house. I guess I was out with some homegirls. I came in the house, and my mama's sitting on the stairs in the dark, like some damn Medea type damn movie. Like, my mama is sitting in the dark on the stairs. She got like one small light on, but it's mostly dark in the house. And she's sitting on some stairs like she is in like a damn Medea movie, black woman who is at that moment where she's like, I gotta change my life. And she tells me, she tells me, and this is the first time that she ever talked to me about her relationships, because she had a lot of relationships growing up. I saw my mom like, okay, you tripping, bye, on to the next one. You tripping, bye, on. Like, my mama could always get a man. Like, it's crazy, right? But she sat there on those stairs in the dark, crying. And, she just said to me, and she had never cried. And she just said to me, I'm tired of all of these relationships that aren't going anywhere. I'm tired of just, oh my God, this is so deep. It's mm. Mm. Excuse me. I knew this one was going to be a day. I made a Instagram reel just a moment ago where I was like, ooh, Spirit woke me up at like 4:00 in the morning with all of this. I'm like, oh shit, it's about to get deep today. I'm like, it's about to get deep today. And I'm feeling it all. Okay. I'm feeling it all. But my mom, she's sitting on these stairs and she's crying and she tells me she's tired. She's tired of these relationships that didn't go anywhere. She's tired of the abuse. She's tired of just extending herself and putting herself out there and that love not being received. She's just exhausted. And at that moment, it made sense to me why I had witnessed my mom in relationship after relationship after relationship, in abusive relationships. I'm talking about, some relationships was actually throwing bows and fighting. I told y'all before, a crazy man has held me and my family hostage before. My mom and my two brothers, we have been held hostage by a crazy person. I can laugh at it today, but that's really my life. I really experienced that. So when my mother shared that with me, it made sense on why I too, at that time in my life, had this longing for connection and for understanding, and for it made sense as to why I was like this little girl that was just like, do you see me? Even if I didn't even care to be seen by you because you're not even my type, I'm like, hey, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, all of that. So a lot of times these energies stay in the family because we're so many people, family members, are scared to talk about the hard things. Because if we start to talk about it, if we start to express it, and I'm going to tell y'all that this is required if you want to break some curse. If you want to nip some of these energies in the bud, if you want to destroy, kill, and annihilate some of these energies that do not serve your bloodline, you're going to have to say it. You're going to have to call it out. A lot of times these energies are able to remain in the family because nobody has the consciousness, the boldness to speak to it. But Desiree D-Way Wise, I'll be damned if I let some shit run rampant in my family, in my household, without me calling that damn thing out, nipping it in the bud, and going to spiritual warfare. Because that's what we're talking about. All right? That's what we're talking about. You have to be willing to go to war. Listen, you got to be willing to go to war, because at the end of the day, this is the fruit that you bear. And it's not just your children, right? Even though your children, that's the biggest thing. Your children and who they get to grow up and become, the life they get to have. Listen, what you don't heal, your children will heal. Or their children will heal if they don't deal with it. What your mama don't deal with, you will have to deal with. What your daddy doesn't deal with, you will have to deal with. There are so many stories in the Bible about this. There's so many stories in the Bible about this. Okay? There's this one story in the Bible where, and oh, this is so good. Let me tell y'all, I'm explaining it to y'all. I was asleep, because I told y'all spirit comes to me in the sleep, right? Spirit comes to me while I'm sleeping. And I kept on hearing these words, chronos, chronos, chronos. And I'm like, why the hell am I hearing chronos? And naturally, I know chronos is a deity, right? Like a Greek god that is the god of time. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, why am I hearing this? Why am I hearing this? Why am I hearing these words? So deep, so spiritual. Can I make this up? Can I make this up? So in my dream, I see one of my best friends. Her name is Victoria. I see Victoria and her mother in the dream, and we're all at a school. Tell you how deep this is. We're all at a school. Now, mind you, what I want you to understand, family, is that when you are dreaming, the people that you see are symbols, right? They are showing you something that you need to understand and integrate into your life. So I'm like, okay, I'm seeing Victoria, I'm seeing her mother, and we're all at a school. And while we're at the school, I'm just hearing the name, the words, Chronos, 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 Chronos. And so, first of all, why is a mother and a daughter in the same school? Then see, when I had this dream, this is when spirit hit me and said, oh shit, girl, you got to talk about breaking generational curse. Because a mother and a daughter are in the same school doing the same work. Why? Because what a mother did not heal, the daughter is tasked with healing it. So you're working and you're fighting the same entity, the same demon, the same thought form, the same spirit. And then when I thought about why I'm hearing the words chronos, 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 spirit says to me, time doesn't heal all wounds. We've been taught that. We've been taught this idea that time heals all wounds. And the reality is that it does not. It doesn't. There are some spiritual experiences that have happened to your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, that will resurface hundreds of years later in a daughter, in a niece. And so there's a story in the Bible of this spirit, right? The spirit of Haman, I believe it was called, where one person in the Bible was meant to defeat this spirit, but he was scared, right? And this spirit was basically embodying one of the kings in the Bible. But there's this one person that was meant to defeat this spirit, the spirit of Haman, right? But he didn't defeat it. And so in the Bible, it says 150 years later, 150 years later, this spirit of Haman comes back. So what am I saying to y'all? I'm saying some of y'all are fighting battles right now that were the battle of your great, 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 great grandmother. Okay? Because again, what your mother doesn't heal, you are tasked to heal. What your grandmother doesn't heal, your mother was tasked to heal. What your father doesn't heal, your brother shall heal. Okay? Very, very powerful stuff. You need to understand this. You need to understand this at a very deep level so that you indeed can set yourself free. And let me tell you why this is so good. Let me tell you why this is so good. is so good and is so beautiful, because as we go to war in these realms, we realize our magic and our power. You realize just how equipped you are. See, a lot of times people aren't fighting the battle because they don't know that they can win. But spiritually, you were born to win. You are born a winner. You were born triumphant. See, the Bible will have you messed up when the Bible says you're born a sinner, you're born this, you're born that. And so, because of that religious indoctrination, we have this deep-seated, deep-rooted belief that we are less than, right? That we don't have what it takes for us to conquer these energies. And it's just not true. You even being here is a sheer miracle within itself. You having life is a sheer miracle and divine intervention within itself. Okay? Period. So you got to understand that, and you have to move forward through this energy. So if y'all want to know some of the ways that spirit channeled to me that we actually sever some of these ties, break some of these generational curse, let me know in the chat. Say, put a 1 in the chat if you're ready for the process. If you're ready for the process of breaking generational curse, ending familial patterns, okay? Purifying your bloodline. If you're ready for that insight, put a 1 in the chat. And if you need a paper, pencil, whatever, paper and pencil, paper and pen, get that. Okay? Because I even had to write it all down, because I'm like, Spirit, I don't want to forget nothing. I don't want to forget anything. I want to give the family what I got. I'm so grateful. And I'm seeing a lot of new names here. So shout out to everybody that is new here. I'm seeing some names that I have not seen before, and I'm grateful for that. If you don't know, I am Desiree D. Ray Wise, spiritual healing coach, and I'll be on these YouTube and Instagram streets just speaking about spirituality, healing your relationship with yourself, to heal your relationship with all things. That's what I've come here to do with my time on this planet. And so if this is resonating with you, be sure to subscribe and come back. Thank y'all for being here. And thank you to all my old family that's been around. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are love. Okay, y'all are love. And if you're receiving value right now, go ahead and like the video. It don't cost nothing to like the video. Liking the video is absolutely free. Go ahead and like the video. And then y'all over here on Instagram, make sure that you're also subscribed on YouTube, because I go live on YouTube more often than I do on Instagram. But this information was so powerful today. I'm like, I got to go live on Instagram too, because I don't want nobody to miss this, right? And if you are here, that means you are a generational curse breaker. If you are here, that means you are a cycle changer. That means that you are completing this cycle. That means that you are transmuting karma. Let me get a yes in the chat if you know that that's you. If you know that you are that person, let me get a yes. Let me get a facts. Let me get a hands up. Let me get a that's me. And I'm going to tell y'all why you got to do that, because that's a part of the process. That's a part of the process. If you're going to do this work, nip some of these spirits in the bud, destroy and annihilate some of this energy so that you set your bloodline free. So if you are going to be the person that are going to uproot, come on. If you are going to be the person that is going to uproot some of these weeds that have been destroying your family, if you're going to be that person, you got to own it. You got to say, that's me. I take responsibility. I take accountability. That's me. So good. Y'all ever thought about the fact that this came to me spiritually earlier too, and I want y'all's opinion on this. Y'all ever thought about the fact that we got the roots, right? You got the roots of a tree. You got the roots of plants. You got the roots. We also know that your family tree has roots, right? Roots being your DNA. I ain't even talked about the DNA. Your family roots being your DNA, right? Have y'all ever thought about the connection between why people who do root work, like why is it called root work? Have y'all ever thought about that? I know this is kind of a side note. A side note. But why is it called root work when we got, oh, I mean, I guess maybe because whoever's doing this magic on people, this root work on people, maybe it's because they're hitting them at the root, baby. They hitting the whole bloodline. Baby, your fruit is impacted by what's at the root. So maybe that's why I call it root work. What y'all think? You know, I don't partake in practice those types of things. My spiritual practice is for me. You know, I don't worry about what other people got going on and cast spells on people and do things like that. That's just not my work. But I thought about that this morning while I was contemplating. I was like, why do they call it root work? And then we got the roots. You know what? Okay, root work equals your foundation. So when people are doing these magical practices, they're literally trying to destroy the foundation of people. So that makes sense. So you got to guard your roots. So now we take this to a whole nother level, right? Now we take this to a whole nother level because the reality is that when you guard your roots, can't nothing infiltrate your roots and therefore influence your fruit in a negative manner. You got to guard your roots. Like in the garden, you put a gate around that garden so that these little critters and creatures don't get up in your shit and start eating all your good stuff. You got to guard your roots. You got to guard your bloodline, right? Like the Bible said, for Satan is out like a roaring lion, ready to steal, kill, and destroy. You got to guard that. Not saying that the whole Satan idea is real or not. I'm just telling you what I'm talking about. You got to guard yourself. You got to be mentally, spiritually, physically armored. Okay? That's a whole nother note. And you are absolutely the tree. You're the tree, the roots, and the fruit. Because like I said, the fruit that you create are not just children. The fruit that you create is your business, your purpose, your passion, your abundance, your love. Me even being here right now going live is some fruit of mine. All right? All right, so I know I went into a whole side note, but I really was thinking about that today. I was like, damn, why did I call it root work? And we got to heal at the root. So anyway, step number one, which is the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that you have to understand. Step number one, we ready? Step number one is you have to become the authority. Ooh, honey, if you don't know and recognize that you are the authority in your own life, shit, there's a difference between having access and being the authority. Let's think about it this way. Let's say you have a business and you got some employees. You as the business owner are the authority, right? Your employees, they have access into the building or into the place where you do business, but you as the authority, you get to cut off that access if they're no longer serving you. Do we understand? Okay. Do we get it? So when we're talking about these spirits, when we're talking about these energies, our lineage, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother, our lineage have given access to certain spirits, entities, low vibrational energies. They have given access to your bloodline to these energies that don't serve you. But you as the authority, you get to say that access is revoked. That access is null and void. You are no longer welcome here. I nip you in the bud now. Honey, let me know in the chat if you've ever had to go into the spirit and nip some shit in the bud, whether it's a belief, whether it's an emotion, whether it's a spirit, whatever it is, nip that in the bud, because you are the authority, because you get to do that. And so even when I think about Chronos, right? I was hearing Chronos. I went and did some research, and Chronos also means to rule and to command. To rule and to command. All right? You have dominion over everything in this realm, because you and God are one. You and Source are one. Period. And so you have to own that authority. You have to own that right. Too often we feel like, oh, that's just my family. That's just running the family. That's who we are. That's who we've been. So now you're saying you're surrendering your authority and giving, you are the owner of this whole thing. You are the curator and the creator of this whole thing. Now you're giving up your authority to some low vibrational energy. You just gonna let this energy devour and destroy your family, your fruit, your children? Absolutely not. So you have to be the authority, and you have to make the choice that you are setting yourself up, and you're setting anybody else up that comes after you. You're setting them up for success. You're setting them up to own the gifts of your bloodline, the blessings of your bloodline. You're giving them access to their greatness when you decide that you're going to be the authority, and you are going to deny access to some of these spirits and some of these energies and some of these entities. All right? That's first things first. So becoming the authority is a mental, emotional, and spiritual process. You don't take no shit. You ain't taking no shit. You ain't taking anything that is less than love. Not at all. Here's a great, oh God, it gets deep. All right. Let me tell you this. So something that has happened in my family before is my mother and my father, they lost their first child. My mother and my father, they lost their first child. Their first child that they had did not make it. He was delivered. His name was Chris. He was born, and there are some complications after birth. And fortunately, my parents did talk to us about that. They did talk to us about that experience. And really that, see, and it's so funny because I'm the rainbow baby. Y'all know how they talk about rainbow children? I'm a rainbow baby. I was the very next child they conceived after losing their baby. And so Dream's mother also had the same or similar experience. And so y'all want to hear some real shit? I'm gonna give you some real shit. So when we went into labor with our last pregnancy with Kimmy, and we had some complications, we had to nip that energy in the bud. We had to be the authority in our lives and affirm that whatever that spirit shall not continue in our family ever. We're nipping it in the bud. And so Dream and I, even though we were doing this at different times, we were in agreement that our child and that our children were going to be here. We're going to be well. We're going to be healthy. We're going to be great, and they're going to thrive. See, that's the power of coming together with somebody who has taken ownership of their lives and that have decided that they are the authority. and that have decided that they are one with God and that they have control over what they allow to happen and manifest in their lives. And so we were both in the realms, right? If y'all don't know, Kimmy, our baby girl, she's turning 2 in a few months. She was born by emergency C-section. We never would have thought in our minds that that would have happened. And she had to fight. But more than she had, well, she's a fighter naturally. But me and Dream Wise, we was in those realms, fucking shit up. Excuse my language for anybody who got sensitive ears, okay? Literally, we had to speak out of our mouths with power and with conviction what the outcome of this situation was going to be. Because what we did know for sure is that this child was made in love. What we did know for sure is that we had asked for this child to be here. And ain't no way in hell some continuation of a low vibrational spirit, ain't no way in hell that's going to manifest in our reality. Not happening. And so we're in the realms and we're going hard. You know, I didn't even, and see, this is the power of being connected with people who are divine and who also have that sacred vision. Because I didn't get to see Kimmy for maybe 10 to 12 hours for a long time because I was coming out of a C-section. I was put to sleep. I didn't get to see her for a long time. I got to see her on FaceTime. And you know, that don't really work for a mama, right? You want to hold your baby. You want to do that skin to skin. So I had to surrender and trust that Dream had the spiritual power, the spiritual fortitude, and the love. Oh my God. When I tell y'all, Dream put so much love and spiritual energy into our baby. You know, I don't even like to say it, but she is such a daddy's girl. I'm like, I get it. I get it. Like, we did a little test the other day where we sitting in the living room, sitting on the couch, and we got Kimmy standing up in front of us, and we both open our arms up like, Kimmy, who you gonna go to? She goes to daddy. She runs and give daddy a hug. I'm not mad at that because her dad went to war for his baby. I'm forever grateful. I'm forever grateful for that. Because the reality is that I physically couldn't be there. And so, and these are tears of gratitude, not sadness, just so y'all know. So much gratitude. I don't even know if I knew today was gonna be deep. Spirit had told me earlier, like, girl, it's gonna get deep. You need to prepare yourself. I didn't prepare myself for this level of deep. Like, I didn't even plan these stories that I'm telling y'all. Like, this shit just coming out, right? That's just channeling, okay? But I don't know if I ever just said explicitly and clearly to Dream Wise. I don't know if I ever said to you, babe, just thank you for that. Wow. I am so very much so pregnant. Thank you. I don't know if I ever just explicitly said thank you for that, because you had to stand in the space. You were and still are very much so a protective shield. And you've been that a lot. You've been that a lot. So that's beautiful. But that moment, you stood in the space, you know, when I couldn't, physically. And I'm just so grateful. Because y'all, for 12 hours, I couldn't see Kimmy. I couldn't hold her, touch her, talk to her really as a mom, as a mother's natural inclination, right? This baby that I've been carrying in my womb for 42 weeks basically. But I had awakened from that C-section, and they're like, "Oh, your baby's in the NICU and you can't go down there until we do this." So they had to do all of this shit for me to be able to get to my kid. And and Dreamwise stayed down there. He stayed there. He was her protector. He was her shield. Still is, of course. And I just know that he was just infusing her with so much power and with nothing less than love. And anything outside of the spirit of love is destroyed in his presence. You're not welcome here. And that was absolutely beautiful. And then when I did finally get down there to see her, I was exactly Amita, exactly. It was that inner chi. He infused her with so much energy. And then when I finally got to get down there, of course, I started, talking to her. She was in the little, I don't know the technical name for it, but I got to really touch her, put my hands on her. And then when I got to hold her, then I really got to infuse that spirit into her. But what I noticed is that there are people who allow these spirits to take precedence and authority over their lives. And I just decided that it ain't happening over here. It ain't happening over here in no way, shape, or form. So let me keep going. Thank y'all for holding space for me as I just shared my gratitude for Dreamwise and our baby, our children, because it's real. It's real work. And you have to have that spiritual authority. I even think about the fact that I am on a journey again to delivering and to giving birth. And I just think about how in that moment, I got to be the authority. I got to know within me that I have everything that I need. And I got to make sure, and this is a process, and this happens in every area of your life. You have to make sure that your mind is fortified. Because these spirits and these entities, like I said in the beginning, they come to take over your mind. They come to take over your emotion. And then your mind and your emotion partner together creates these experiences that remind you of your past, that remind you of what your mama and your grandmother did. So if you're thinking and you're feeling the same way, you create the same results. So step number 1 is be the authority. Step number 1 is be the authority. Again, thank y'all for holding space for me. I promise you, I promise you that I'm joyful right now and that I'm grateful right now. And the tears that you see me shed, are, I heard a lady say this. I've never heard this before. I heard it on Instagram and I think I saved it. She said, when tears come down the sides of your eyes, this means that you've healed something, that you've released, and that you've overcome. Have y'all ever heard that? When the tears come out of the corners of your eyes, this symbolizes the triumph. This symbolizes the yes. This symbolizes we did that. She was like, when tears come out of the inside corner, you're just now experiencing that pain, that trauma, whatever it is. And then when they come out of the middle of your eye, she said something else. But it was cool. Y'all go research it, go look it up. It was on Instagram. I should have saved it. I should have shared it with y'all, but it was powerful. I just want y'all to know my tears are coming out from over here. I'm very grateful, grateful for my life, grateful for who I am, grateful to get to do this work. My tears of joy. Facts, okay? That's why I'm able to stop them and come back into laughter. Anywho's, let's keep going. Step number 1 is be the authority. Take command and rule. You are the ruler. You are the ruler of your own life. Take command and rule. Set the standard for what you will and will not take by allowing and by transforming your mind and your heart. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. All right? So that's where we start. Step number 2, if y'all are ready for number 2, say ready. Because number 2 is good. If you're ready for number 2, say ready. Because I'm ready to give it to y'all. While y'all are putting the readies in the chat, I am teaching a live workshop this Saturday, August 5th, 2023. It is live on Zoom. I'm going to be teaching about your womb and your relationships, how your relationship with yourself, your partner, your mama, and anybody else in your life, how those relationships are impacting your womb, how those relationships are impacting your divine feminine energy, how those relationships are impacting you showing up as your best self. So if you're not already signed up to my email list so that you can get all the information, just go to DesireeTheHealingCoach.com. When that little thing pops up, put your email address in there and I'll be able to send you all the information. That's a whole side note. All right. That's a whole side note. Got that done. Ready for number 2. Number 2, you have to be set apart. Everybody say set apart. Set apart. Honey, you have to be willing to be the outcast. You got to be willing to be the crazy one. You got to be willing to be the one that is not liked. You got to be okay being the ugly duckling that turns into the beautiful swan. You have to be okay with not fitting in to the status quo. You have to be okay with breaking the tradition. You have to be okay with not doing all the same shit everybody else in your family was doing. You got to be okay with that. You got to say, you know what? I'm going to be ye set apart. You have to be okay with the isolation. Honey, I done had some lonely ass moments, especially when it comes down to my family. My immediate family. First of all, because I'm the only girl, I have 4 brothers. All of my female cousins, I don't have any close female cousins. They're all extended. I'm the only girl. And so I've been used to being set apart my whole life. But it got really challenging when I had to be set apart from my mother and my grandmother. When I had to be very intentional about not thinking, speaking, and behaving the way that they do. When I had to be very intentional to be like, no. That's not going to work for me. You know, one of the entities that was really permeating in the women in my family is this self-sacrifice. It's like I'm very clear. There was this little entity that would just whisper in the women's ear that says, sacrifice yourself. Be the martyr. Put everybody before you. You're not worth the love, the attention, the effort. Or you only get the love, the attention, the effort when you give yourself to other people, when you dedicate yourself to other people, when you pride yourself on showing up for other people. That's what makes you valuable. Honey, that's a spirit and that's a lie. That is a spirit, that is an entity, and it is a lie. That energy would have you going to extremes to please other people, to make sure everybody else was cared for and not yourself. And so this had led to heart problems with both my mother and my grandmother. I remember when I was in middle school, my mom was probably in her early 40s or 30s, late 30s, early 40s, something like that. She passed out at work and she got rushed to the hospital, and they put the little EKG probe things on her and had determined that she had a slight heart attack. And then when they do all the research, and my mom's a single mom, all she has is us kids. And so we're like, okay, why is my mom not picking me up from school? What's going on? And other family members are saying, your mom got rushed to the hospital today. And then my mom comes home. She has these things on her chest. They're monitoring her heart from home. And when you realize it, the cause of her having this slight heart attack at such a young age was stress. Stress. Overexerting herself, putting too much energy, putting too much effort into everybody around her. My grandmother, same exact thing. Same exact thing happened. And so a few years ago, this just happened. I told this story at the Mystic Mind Conference. My mother, it was Thanksgiving. My mother had went to work all day, more than 8 hours. My mom be working like 10-hour shifts because she's in accounting. She's always moving money for like large oil and gas companies out here. And so she, it's Thanksgiving Eve or whatever. She goes to work, she come home, and she cooks all night. Why she thinks she got to do that is because of this spirit that I'm talking to you about. The self-sacrifice, got to take care of everybody, got to take care of the whole family. So we get to her house on Thanksgiving Day, and she looking like she ain't took a shower. She looking like she haven't eaten. She looking exhausted. Now, this disturbs my spirit because my higher self is telling me that this is not right. This is not real love. This is self-sacrifice. This is martyrdom, is what my spirit tells me when I see my mom. I see exhaustion. I see tiredness. I see a lack of self-care, spiritual self-care, not even just the human. I had to tell my mama this. I had to say, every time you go out your way to do something for us, when your body tells you you don't have the resources and the energetic reservoir for it, every time you do that, you're neglecting yourself. Because the little bit of energy that you do have, that energy is supposed to be used to refuel and to replenish your spirit, but you giving it to us. Stop. Didn't look right. I had to call that spirit out. And I told her on that Thanksgiving Day, I said, this is enough. I told her and my grandmother right there. I said, I'm telling y'all right now, I will not be standing up in the kitchen because I'm the only girl. So, right, I'm the next in line, right? They already are pushing me to the forefront, being like, you plan everything, Desiree. You put everything together. You da 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 da. I sure will. I will plan it, but best believe I will not be the only one putting in the work. Not happening. And I told my grandma, I said, Grandma, look at her. Look at how she can't even enjoy all her grandchildren, all her children being here, she can't even enjoy it because she's sitting on the couch dozing off, looking with a, with a damn she had on like one of them grandma moo dresses on. It's hanging off on the side. It got fried chicken flour on it, and she looking like she been sweating. I'm like, that time is over with. Because energy like that, it makes you old quick. You aging 10, 20 years than what you're supposed to, because when your body and your spirit is asking you to rest, you choosing to do all of this extra shit. I said, no. I want to look this good, have this great ass blood pressure, be able to move around, exercise, and do all of the stuff that I want to do for the long haul. And if I'm exerting all my energy trying to make y'all happy, I'm not taking care of myself. It's not happening. So anyways, I tell him I'm not doing it. And I tell my mama, I say, look, Christmas is coming. What's going to happen there? Y'all are going to come to my house. I'm going to cook something. I'm going to cook 2 things. I think I made like some shrimp pasta, something, and something else. And I said, I'm telling my brothers and their girlfriends and their wives that they need to bring something, period. And so I told my brothers them, I said, look at mama. Do y'all think that's okay? No. Nobody asked her to do that. Nobody even asked you to do that. But you feel this spirit, this entity, this energy whispers in your ear and tells you, tire yourself out. Do all of that work. Do everything. Exhaust yourself. You better do all of this for them because that's the only way they're going to know you love them. Girl, bye. Nip that shit in the bud. Within a month, that spirit was destroyed. Are you hearing me? Because I said I'm going to be set apart. I said I'm going to do it differently. I don't care if y'all think, ooh, she don't sacrifice as much as everybody else do. But look how she looking, though. Look how she joyful. Look how she's taking care of herself. Look how she's fruitful. Look how those kids are still happy. So Christmas came. They all came to my house. Everybody ate. And my mama, she's sitting up there on the couch drinking some wine, talking about, oh, yeah, I like that. And my brother just hopped over here on Instagram. What's up to you, C-Dub? Say hey in the chat. I'm talking about our mother right now, but it's all good stuff. Say hey so I know you're really in here and not just popping on. But so Christmas time came. My mom was able to sit back, sip on some wine, talking about, I like this. I'm going to keep this how we need to always do it. Absolutely, that's how we need to always do it. Because this is the energy of because I love me, I can better love you. Oh, come on. Do you hear me? Hello? So I had to break this spirit of overexerting yourself and giving energy when you don't have it as a form of love, because it's not. And so ever since then, when my mama wants to do something, we want to have a family thing going on, my mama called talking about, what you think you want to bring? And da-da-da-da-da-da. And I tell her straight up, I'm going to bring something, but I ain't going to do too much. I'm going to tap in with spirit. My intuition is going to tell me exactly what to do to best serve y'all, but most importantly, to best serve myself. And she been taking notes, baby. And she would laugh, y'all, when she would call me and ask me about what I'm bringing to the family event or can I do this? She already know. When she asks me, can I do something? She knows she's literally asking me. Oh, come on. That's another one. That's another one. That's another one. See, some of us have a generational curse or a generational pattern in our families where you feel obligated to do something. If your mama asks, you got to do it. If your daddy asks, you got to do it. You a grown ass man or woman with your own life, with your own kids, with your own things that you got to do. But if mama call, or daddy call, or grandma call, you better drop everything and run. That is a spirit that does not serve your good. Because sometimes, again, you're neglecting what you need. It has to stop. Because then with that type of energy, you look up and you like, damn, what have I done for myself? What have I created for myself? I've always been on call for everybody else. When am I going to show up for myself? When am I going to do for myself? When am I going to take care of myself? And let me tell y'all something that I know for a fact. I know for a fact that me saying no to my mother sometimes, I had to do it because it was not just about me, but I was nipping in the bud and destroying a spirit of doing things out of obligation instead of doing it out of love. In all that you do in love. And if you're doing something that takes away from your energy, from your spirit, from your well-being, this is not love. And so there are times when I've had to tell my mother no. And she, through me telling her no, I'm spiritually nipping this energy in the bud. I'm spiritually destroying this spirit that has made the women and even some of the men in my family feel like we have to do things even though we don't have it in us to do it. Me saying no has set my mother free in multiple ways. Her mama called, hey, I need this. Her mama lived 2 hours away. Sometimes she's going to go. If she has it in her, if her spirit says yes, sometimes she's going to go. But I've literally witnessed my mother tell her mother no. And that's because she needed to tell her no. If she did not tell her no, she's putting herself in more danger than she is doing more good. So you got to be willing to be set apart, right? Y'all still here with me? I know I'm going hard. I know this is a lot of information. You got to be willing to be set apart. That is step number 2. It is okay if your family does not understand what you're doing and how you are moving. If you know that what you are doing is from the spirit and it is healing, transforming, and evolving your bloodline, your lineage, your children, your fruit, if you know that you are nipping an energy in the bud through your spiritual work, it's okay if they don't get it. They will get it when it's time to get it. They will understand when it's their time to understand. But you need to know and understand that your work heals the bloodline that is coming after you and the bloodline that is before you. This is why my mother can now say no. This is why my mother can now say, I can't do it this time. Let me get a check in the chat so that we can go to number 3. I got 3 more things for y'all to do. If y'all are still here with me, I'm ready to give it to you. Actually, I got 1, 2. Girl, you got to flip the page. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 more to give y'all. If you still here with me, give me a check. We here. Got it. Good. All of that good stuff. Because we here. I'm going to try to get through this. Step number 3, you have to be able to identify the spirit directly. A lot of times we want to change and transform a spirit, an entity, an energy that is navigating through our families, navigating through our households, but we don't know what it is. And so you need to ask spirit for discernment. You need to ask spirit for clarity to show you. You have to be able to identify abandonment, rejection, sexual abuse, addiction. Okay? You have to be able to identify these energies. Because if you can identify it, then you can give it the medicine that it needs for it to be transformed. So that means you got to pay attention to all of the symptoms. You got to combine all of the symptoms. Let's say your child gets sick. They coughing, they got a runny nose, they got a fever. This could be the flu. This could be the COVID. This could be a regular cold. But how you address and how you heal each of those things is based off what it is. Okay? It's based off of what that energy, what that spirit, what that thing is. That is what determines how you address it. Okay? Now, if your kid got those symptoms, but they start throwing up and they start doing all of this other stuff, that requires a different medicine. Okay? You're not going to treat a stomach flu the same way you are going to treat influenza. Okay? You're just not going to treat it the same way. So you have to be able to identify the spirit that is running rampant within your bloodline. If you can identify what it is, you can give it the right medicine to destroy, annihilate, and kill that energy. Okay? And you know, I'm going to tell y'all right now, the mother energy is coming up intensely. I talked about the mother energy last week. I'm talking about it again today. I remember this one time my mom, I told the story. I don't remember when I told it, but my mom was about to go and have a colonoscopy. She had reached that 50-year age, and you know that's the time when you got to get the colonoscopy. My mother was scared. She was anxious. She was worried, concerned, because she had to be put to sleep, and being put to sleep is not easy. It is scary, right? And so we all come to her house, and we're praying because, you know, she's like, I need some prayer so I can go into this thing confidently. Some way, somehow, my mom ends up on the floor, kind of unconscious. I am naturally led to place my hands on her stomach. And as I place my hands on her stomach, I feel all of this energy come into my hands. I feel sadness. I feel guilt. I feel shame. I feel all of these emotions come into my hands. And I had to ask my higher self, I had to ask spirit, what is this? And what I was able to identify was that my mother had to grow up quickly. And so because she didn't get the time to really honor her childhood and to be cared for, this caused her to do a lot of things in her young adult years that she still was holding on to guilt and shame and fear about. And so after I placed my hands on her belly and I absorbed all of that energy, my mother kind of came back to consciousness, and she was like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I feel so peaceful. That's because I spiritually extracted that energy from her, right? And the reason why I was able to do that, let me tell you, the reason why I was able to do that is because at that point, I had already done so much spiritual work. I could identify the spirit of guilt. I could identify the spirit of shame. I could identify the spirit of abuse, and I know how to transmute it because I've already transmuted it within myself. So you have to be able to speak to what you're dealing with, say it by name. If it's abuse, it's abuse, it's abuse. If it's abandonment, that's what it is. If it's rejection, that's what it is. If it's molestation, that's what it is. Call it what it is so that you can transform it the way that it needs to be transformed so that your fruit don't got to deal with it, okay? That's number 3. Number 4, I'm going to combine it with another one. Number 5, it's really 4, but we call it's 5. It's 5, but it's really 4. Okay. You have to understand that you cannot bring a knife to a gunfight. You cannot bring a knife to a gunfight. When you are breaking generational curse, changing behavioral patterns, mental, emotional patterns within your family, you have to address this spiritually. See, the thing about the roots of a tree is that most of the time you can't see the roots of that tree. Most of the time, you have to be able to look into the spirit to be able to identify what is actually happening. Understand that the spirit realm is what is making up the physical realm. And so you have to be able to look spiritually and fight spiritually in order to change the physical. See, too many times we're just trying to do things on the physical level. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do all of these things. But no, you have to identify the spirit that has created the physical ailment or the physical discomfort or the physical realization of whatever is showing up in your family. So for me, 1 of the things that I did was I started to A lot of people in my family struggle with high blood pressure. And yes, you can say, and it is a part. Let me tell y'all. If you go to a doctor, the doctor is going to say, okay, high blood pressure is because an inactive life, right? You live a sedentary life. High blood pressure is because you don't eat well. High blood pressure is because of stress, right? Spiritually, I know that the women and the men in my family have had high blood pressure because they have overexerted energy on being everything that they need their family to be. A lot of people in my family carry their entire family on their back. They don't know how to let it go. They don't know how to allow whoever is going through whatever they're going through, allow them to figure it out. I can give you love. I can give you wisdom. I can give you intention. I can give you what I got, but I'm not going to lose sleep at night because you going through some shit. But see, my mama, my grandmother, my father, this is what they've been trained to do. They've been trained to, when somebody is having an experience, worry about them. Think about them all day. Think about them all night. Get anxious about, and I have to catch myself with that, which is what's going to go to the next thing. So you have to understand, you cannot bring a knife to a gunfight. So stop trying to address spiritual things with physical means. You got to go into the spirit. So some of the ways that you go into the spirit, I remember I was doing womb healing work. And in my family, I've experienced sexual abuse. Okay. I know my mother has experienced abuse. I know my grandmother's sisters and all of their granddaughters have experienced sexual abuse. In fact, at the hands of their grandfather and their father, literally. My grandmother has a sister who was molested by her father, and then her father molested her daughter, and then her granddaughter. So 3 generations have been abused by the same man. So when I'm doing womb work, I can't just do affirmations. I got to get down and dirty, which means I got to fast. I got to fast. I got to starve this energy. I got to starve it in the spirit. And so I go into fasting, fast for an extended amount of days, 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, fast, go hard. But I fast with intention. I fast because I know that whatever energy and entity that is attached to my family, to me, or to anybody that is connected to me, I'm about to starve it out. Okay? Because when you neglect the physical body by not eating, by fasting, you strengthen the spirit. See, a lot of people don't feel spiritually strong, and that's because they are so grounded in their physical bodies. Okay? They are so addicted and attached to the sensations of their body. They feel horny, you got to have some sex immediately. You feel like you need some sugar, you immediately going to go get some ice cream, some cookies, or some Starbucks, right? You feel stressed out, you automatically going to go get a bottle of alcohol or a cigarette. So those types of actions keep these spiritual entities attached to you. In order for you to kill, steal, and destroy these energies so that they can no longer run rampant in your family, you got to fight in the spirit. And so fighting in the spirit means fasting, meditating, praying consistently. This is a daily thing. And as you go through that process, as you go through that alchemy, more and more and more is going to be revealed to you about the root of this energy and this entity and how you give it the medicine that actually destroys it. All right? You got to learn to fight in the spirit. All right? It's not about your physical changes. It's not about, okay, my family struggles with finances, I'm going to start saving money. No, what's the root of that? All right? Trying to get this work in with y'all because I know I've been here for a while. So once you start to fight in the spirit and you've been through your fasting process, you've been meditating, praying, affirming, you've been going hard, The next thing that you have to do is you have to learn to be present. So that means you have to move, dress, speak, think from the energy of it is done. The same person you used to be when you were inflicted with this low vibrational energy, you cannot be that person today. You cannot think the same way, feel the same way, act the same way, dress the same way, show up the same way. Because if you do, you haven't severed that tie. You haven't did that work. You should be showing up anew. How people shouldn't even recognize you, because here's the reality. When you change at the spirit level and you detach from these certain entities and energies, the way you look changes. I can go look at and see Dream Wise be getting on me because I be looking at pictures from the past. You always looking at pictures from the past. Why you always got to be looking at pictures? Because it lets me know how far I've come. When I look at myself in the face in past pictures, I see the energies and the entities that I've let go of that has allowed me to shine and be who I am today. I move, think, act, speak, eat differently because I'm no longer attached to that energy. So you got to show up differently. All right? And here's the reality. The physical world may not have changed yet. You go to war in the spirit. You do the work in the spirit. Your physical reality may still look the same. Your bank account look the same. Your relationship status look the same. Your kids probably still bad as hell. Your mama probably still tripping. But you know within your being that something has changed spiritually. Y'all remember that song? I know I've been changed. What y'all know about that? You got to know you've been changed and you got to show up that way. You got to show up that way. You look different. You feel different. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with people not knowing who you are today, because who they knew was attached to that old energy. Who they knew had a spirit who was leeching off of them. Who they knew had a thought form that governed their lives. But I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. So you got to move like it. The last thing that I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to answer some questions, and then I'm going to get off of here. You have to learn to eat in the presence of your enemies. Ooh. What that mean, D-Ray? What that mean? What does it mean to eat in the presence of my enemies? Whew. You know, there's a Bible verse that says he prepares the table in the presence of my enemies. And if you're preparing a table, there's some food on that table. You know, the whole, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff come for me. That whole thing. What that is saying is that there's going to be some shit that you got to deal with. There's some energy, some entities, some darkness, some challenges, some spirits that you got to be in front of, that you are going to be in the presence of, but you got to still be able to eat. And here's what that means. To eat means you nourish yourself. You know, a lot of people don't eat when they're uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, think about a girl who's going on a first date. She going on her first date with some guy. She ain't about to really eat that food because she's trying to look a certain way. She not comfortable. She gonna pick at that food. See, when you can eat, when you can feast, especially on a table that has been prepared for you from the divine, from the Most High, the reason why you can eat is because you have confidence. It's because you've tapped into spiritual power. Check. You have to learn to come face to face with whatever it is that you're dealing with and know that you are more powerful than, and know that it is done, and know that you are well, know that it is good, know that you are the one that is here to destroy. And so I can eat peacefully and graciously because I know and understand that whatever this is, I've already dealt with that in the spirit. Okay? So as you are going through this process, you absolutely have to continue to feed yourself, nourish yourself. Okay. So if you're breaking the spirit of poverty, even when poverty shit shows up in your life, even when them bills keep coming, even when the bank account is looking like whatever it's looking like, when you know that you are destroying this spirit, you still have to be nourished within yourself, meaning you have to know that this is done no matter what it looks like. I don't give a damn what it looks like. I'm going to eat and have gratitude and be nourished and continue to feed myself in the spirit, which means I'm going to continue to take in abundance. I'm going to continue to receive and observe all of the abundance that is happening around me, all of the love that is happening around me. I'm going to continue to draw that into my space. See, a lot of times we do the spiritual warfare work. We visit them underworld realms. We go to battle for ourselves. And when we don't see it in the physical realm, we stop nourishing ourselves with the things that we know is necessary for the transformation. And that's what has to stop. Okay? You have to learn to feed yourself in the presence of your trials. And the way that you feed yourself in the presence of your trials is by continuously having gratitude. Thank you. Thank you that I get to do this work. I was just telling one of my clients earlier today, I had a coaching call before coming live on here. I said, listen, it is a gift to have the awareness that there's work that you got to do. Do you know how many people that are around you who don't have a single clue that there is a spirit and entity and energy that is operating and running their lives? For the simple fact that you have chosen that you are going to nip, kill, destroy, and annihilate this energy, you need to have gratitude, because the reality is that it is done. You've already won. You were born a winner. This is the facts. So you got to learn to eat in the presence of your enemies. The table has been prepared. You eating in the presence of your enemies is you knowing and understanding that you have everything that it takes. And regardless of what the physical realm looks like, you know that you are cared for, provided for, loved beyond measure. Okay? All right? Feeding yourself in the spirit means that you are consistently raising your vibration. You're consistently staying in a mental, emotional, and spiritual place that says, I am well, it is well, everything is good. You're consistently reminding yourself of that. That is what feeding yourself in the spirit means. And now here's what happens when that happens. When that happens, what actually takes place now is that this spirit, this energy, it don't even want to mess with you no more. It's like, hold on. Her vibration is too damn high. I don't even want to, I can't reside here. That energy will say, I can't dwell here because it's uncomfortable. She got so much gratitude. She got so much love. She got so much power. It is uncomfortable for me to be in her space and in her presence. That is what you're meant to do. That is who you're meant to be. All right. Now, I'm going to give you all the opportunity to drop your questions. Drop your questions. Let's get them in real quick so I can let y'all go. Listen, if y'all have been receiving value here today, if you've been receiving value and you want to exchange some love, listen, feel free to go donate to our birth and our midwifery care. Feel free to go and donate to our birth and our midwifery care. We'd be so grateful for that, if you want to, no pressure. Just letting y'all know that it's there. Just letting you know that it's there. If you do donate to our birth and midwifery care, depending on how much you donate, either you'll get a reading from me, one of Junior and I's classes. There are things that you get with your donation, right? It's not just you're just donating. We're going to give you things with that. So if you want to do that, feel free to donate to our birth and our midwifery care. The link is on YouTube, on Instagram. The link is in my description if you wanna go over there and do that. Greatly appreciate that. Listen, okay, let's get into some questions really quickly, then we're gonna get off of here. While I got you here, also, I want you to know and understand that I do have a live workshop happening this Saturday, August 5th, 2023, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're talking about your womb and your relationships. If y'all thought today was good and deep, then we're going to be getting into it even more. This is for my ladies specifically. This class is not for the brothers unless you got a wife or a sister who you want to share it with. This class is for the women. It's absolutely free. Come see me. Come see me, like Jill Scott says. I'm be teaching about your womb and your relationships, how the people you are connected to are impacting your ability to dwell within your divine feminine energy, your ability to manifest, your ability to create. We're going to be dealing with that. Go ahead and drop your question. I got some questions right here, right now. I'm about to get into. Let's see. All right. First question. Do you think we could heal our bloodline by healing ourselves? Absolutely. Absolutely. When we heal ourselves, we heal our bloodline. That's exactly how it works. But we got to own that. We got to take the authority into our hands, right? And then like I said, you have to tap into those specific energies. You have to know what spirit you're dealing with. You got to know what spirit you're dealing with and address that thing head on. Absolutely. Love that. Are these spirits roots connected to the seven deadly sins or entities in the Bible? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And then a lot of these things are, I think, a big deal, a big reason why families have certain spirits that are connected to them is a lot of people don't really honor the power of their word. So you'll have a woman say, ain't no good men out there. Ain't no good men out there. Ain't no good men out there. And so she attaches to her an entity that is there are no good men out there. And so that entity that is attached to her, that spirit that is attached to her, literally is this big energetic portal that draws in this idea that there are no good men, there are no good men, there are no good men. And then guess what? She keep on attracting some non-shit men, some shit ass men. Okay. She keeps on attracting that. But until she changes that, her daughter, her granddaughter, her great great granddaughter, they're gonna keep manifesting men who ain't about nothing. So a part of it is human beings, right? Coming into this physical realm and not having self control over their tongues, not having self control over their bodies, and falling victim to some of these low vibrational energies because they don't know how to transmute and transform their traumas. See, a lot of these entities and these energies and these spirits, they attach themselves when a human being is in a low vibrational state. When you've experienced some wounding, some hurt, some disappointment, they connect themselves because you're on the same frequency and vibration. And then if it's not transmuted, it continues throughout the bloodline until you have that child, that rainbow baby that comes through and says, I'm not doing that. I don't agree with that. I'm not following that tradition. Okay. So that's kind of how that works. So this is why you have to you have to have a mind that is aligned with God, your higher sacred self. Because the mind of God, not God, this one man sitting on a throne saying, you sin down there. Not that. When I'm talking about God, I'm talking about Father, Mother God. I'm talking about that divine sacred energy that has come together to create all of us that we all actually come from. This energy is of love. Even though sometimes that love can be tough, sometimes that love can be challenging. But the thing about that love and the thing about that divine sacred light is that it can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It appreciates the darkness. That's that feminine energy. See, the mother knows how to go into the darkness and find the light. And that's what that is. But a lot of times when human beings experience trauma, they don't see no light. All they see is the negative. All they see is the bad. All they see is the trauma and the drama. And what you believe, you create. And so those same beliefs become the guide for everybody that comes after whoever started. Very powerful stuff. Another question. What if one is rejecting healing family friends or even self? How does one go about assisting that person with healing to heal themselves? Yeah, no, it is not our responsibility in no way, shape, or form. It is not our responsibility in any way, shape, or form to heal anybody else. Our responsibility is to heal. See, when it comes down to breaking generational curse and ending certain cycles, this requires consciousness. And so it's not about healing anybody else. It's about deciding that this energy is not going to manifest from me. It's about deciding that I'm not going to allow this energy to be birthed in my reality. So it ends with me. And when I allow it to end with me based off how I think, how I feel, how I show up, how I behave, when it ends with me, I sever that tie and that connection to that spirit. And therefore, that spirit no longer can go to my past or my future. So this is a self journey, but because we are all directly connected and interrelated, your work affects the people around you. How does one deal with narcissistic family? The first thing that I'm gonna say is I really I don't really delve into the ideas of narcissists or narcissistic family and things like that. Just because if I'm being honest, I can't necessarily fully identify what that is because I'm not medically trained to do that. But what I will say is when you're dealing with family members who are unhealthy because they don't know how to love, honor, show up for you, you have to set boundaries. Not only do you set those boundaries, you stand firm on those boundaries because you know that you setting these boundaries is for your protection and it's for their protection as well. So that's how you deal with that. Discover what it is that you need and stand on that. Okay. That's how you deal with that. Sis. Set your boundaries. Don't engage. Do what you need to do to keep yourself spiritually protected, right? You got to do what you got to get yourself spiritually protected, and you just have to know what your triggers are. And you know what? Because you are the conscious person, you have to also know what triggers them. See, that's the real gift. The real gift is when you can identify what triggers the person that you're dealing with, you can have some self-control and you can have some creativity in your engagement with them. All right. So you got to outsmart them at their own game because you're the conscious one. They're acting out of habit. You are acting out of presence. Major difference. All right. Okay, y'all, that's my time. Hopefully, I'll see you ladies on Saturday. All you have to do is be signed up to my email list. To get signed up to my email list, all you have to do is go to DesireeTheCoach.com. It's everywhere you are is the link to my email, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube. Click that link, put in your email address, and I'll give you everything that you need to know in order to join. I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all let me know in the comments, not in the chat, when these videos are done. Y'all let me know in the comments how this resonates with y'all. Thank y'all for spending this powerful, wonderful time with me. It's always such a gift. And I will see y'all next time. Maybe this week we'll do some spiritual readings regarding what energies we're severing. Maybe we'll do that on like Thursday or something. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all want to do that. If you want to do that, you got to let me know in the comments because I need to give you what you want, okay? While I'm giving you what you want, you get what you need. All righty. That's all. Peace and love, y'all.